What was it called when we did those?
They were under, so the ones we did was under 3.2. Okay. So this is 3.2 factor review. Okay. You guys should have this handout already. Let's go ahead and get into it. So the greatest common factor, the GCF, is the greatest factor that divides evenly into each term of an expression. Okay, meaning the fact that if I have 2, 4, and 8, I can pull 2 out of all those numbers and divides evenly, right? 1, 2, and 4. Factoring a polynomial reverses the multiplication process to factor, sorry, voice crack, to factor a monomial from a polynomial. First, find the GCF of its terms. Monomial refers to, for example, 4x cubed. That's a monomial on its own. If it's with other monomials, then it becomes a polynomial. Does that make sense?
I'm not familiar with that.
So a monomial would basically be like 2x. A polynomial would be like 2x plus 4. Anytime you add more than one thing to a nomial, being, for example, an expression, it then starts to build. A monomial is only one. Polynomial is then multiple, okay? Poly meaning many, okay?
So all of those are polynomials?
Yes.
Okay.
Every single one. We don't classify, yes, because you think mono, then you have di, tri, no, we don't do that. We technically do have trinomials, technically, but you won't learn about those until Math 3. Okay? We just use the word polynomial for now because it's easier to digest, especially when we start talking about quadratics. Okay? All right. Now, taking a look at the first one. All right, we've got 4x cubed. We have 12x squared minus 8x. Okay? We're taking every single one of these parts of this guy, and we're bringing it down here. I'm saying kind of like essentially a train station, if you will, or buffers and sign labels. I don't know how you want to describe it. I consider it as rail lines. Okay? Now, what we do is we break this guy apart into its smallest corresponding parts. So we've got 2 times 2 times x times x times x. For 12x squared, we have 2 times 2 times 3 times x times x. For negative 8x, we have negative 2 times 2 times 2 times x. Notice the negative only happens once. Then, after we do that, we circle up everything that has dance partners, or sets of 3 in this case. Okay. Then, over here, as our GCF, we would then have 2 times 2 times x. So that whole thing becomes 4x, and that's our GCF. So that means our final answer would be 4x, x squared plus 3x minus 2. All right. So what we did was we pulled out 4x from there effectively, and we then reduced everything down by dividing it. We'll do that in a couple different ways here in these other examples, but overall, that's your generic, hey, here's how you calculate it by hand situation, okay? Now, find the GCF of 3m cubed minus 18. Again, we take the parts of it, split them up, so we have 3m cubed minus 18. This becomes 3 times m times m times m. It becomes negative 3 times 3 times 2. Okay? Again, we circle up what we have in common. Well, we only got one thing, and that's 3. So then we have a GCF of 3, which means our final answer would be 3m squared minus 16. I mean, sorry, not 16. I mean, 18. I mean, not 18. So 3 divided by 18 would be 6. There we go. I had a major brain fart there. I'm tired. All right. The next one, This one, you should be able to start seeing that we don't really necessarily even need to do the railroad track setup. We can kind of see that the greatest common factor for these guys is only going to be one option, 3. Why? Well, he's right there. And 3 is divisible. It can go into 12 and 15 evenly, which means we have a GCF of 3. And let's see. Now, in terms of identifying what the x would be, 1, x has to appear at all 3 parts of the polynomial. If it does it, there's no x's included. Refer back to the previous one. Okay? If it is included, you take the smallest amount of x, and that's what you're taking out. For example, it would be x to the first power, so just x. If it was x squared and everything else was, let's say, x to the third, x to the fourth, you take 2 x's out, okay? Meaning x squared. So my final answer here would be 3x times x squared minus 4x plus 5. Okay? Now, for the last one, I'm going to show you guys a few things you need to recognize about this. First of all, our GCF is going to be 6m squared. Okay? 6 obviously coming out of all of this, and our large amount of m that can come out is on the end there at m squared. Now, what you effectively have been doing so far in your head, or at least what we've been doing in the other examples, is we're effectively dividing each part of this guy by 6m squared. Okay? And when we do that, what we get is 6m to the fourth time divided by 6m to the squared is going to give me 1 and then m to the second power. Remember, when you divide exponents, you subtract them. So negative 12m squared cubed divided by 6m squared is going to give me 2m. 24m squared divided by 6m squared. The m squareds cancel. You're only left with 24 divided by 6, and that's going to give me 4. Okay? And that right there is the relation. Now, if you chose to pull the negative out with this, this is what would happen to this problem. Okay, meaning you put the negative here. Well, all the signs inside are going to flip. And that's it.